Good day, lads. It has been nearly a week since I made my Darktide Combat as King video. And in that video, I said that the combat for Darktide feels much better and much more visceral because you actually feel like you're making an impact into enemies than you do here in Space Marine 2. Since then, I have taken the time to really focus on the melee combat and really get the feel of what it's like to be a full melee build and combat style without any guns in the way, because to be honest, the plasma pistol feels a little underpowered. So I focused on the melee, and I have gotten to understand the combat flow within Space Marine 2 a lot better. There's definitely moments within this video you'll see I make plenty of mistakes, plenty of errors, and there's definitely some moments where it feels like my controls are fighting against me, where the rhythm of the combat is no longer going through. Like right here, I'm making the same single attack. I didn't even dodge that. I was very late on my keys there, but I'm going to make the same attack multiple times without getting the rhythm put in, like the actual rhythmic combos of the game put in. And I don't know what's been happening. I've also been noticing over the last couple days that a lot of my controls are stopping mid-play, where my character will just stop moving forward. I won't get dodges in. I'll completely stop sprinting altogether. My combat rhythm is thrown off, and it's been throwing me off a lot within the game. But I've understood now, and I've learned the entire combat system of the game. When it comes to fighting elites, your combat is slow, and you are not meant to be going ham, buck wild, and crazy within each mission. It should be a lot more focused on getting those parries, whether they are the perfect parries or the timed parries when they are making non-circle ring attacks. As long as you're making those attacks, you will regularly, here, I get it right now, you'll be regularly able to execute those heavy-hitting gun strikes and follow up with maybe a secondary parry, and then follow up another gun strike for then the follow-up execution. Miss that parry here, and my ally is going to get the final stun off of that. So there's plenty of moments here throughout this video. I will make mistakes. I'm not perfect at the combat, but I do fully understand the rhythm of the combat, and I understand that it is meant to be a lot slower. I will, as always, admit that this is a game that definitely takes a lot of getting used to within the combat. There are moments where I think much of this community agrees that gun strikes should have iframes. I got super lucky right there and was able to key in a gun strike to a parry to an execution, followed by another parry to another execution. And here is just proper planning and getting the correct spawn for this, to where I can jump down, swing my sword around like an idiot, and then finally start making contact with enemies and helping my squad out. And I'll miss that parry there, we'll hit that one, gun strike to execution, and it is about taking the game slower. I find that between both enemy factions, I prefer fighting the NIDs, because the gameplay feels better. I'm not dealing with teleportation every 5 hits or every 2 hits. I should have dodged out of the way to get a gun strike right there. I had the time for it, and I just kept myself in the animation lock. There's the parry 1, there's parry 2, gun strike, and then execution. So taking your time in the game and actually slowing yourself down, keeping aware for those enemies that come in and provide you that opportunity for a perfect parry is key. It's one of the best ways to get free hits, even right here, waiting for that perfect parry and then weighing in again and finally getting the rhythm with the combat again here. But there are moments where I lose it, and I just keep doing the same swing hit with the sword over and over again. After enough practice with this game and being able to put in enough hours and time, I definitely think that the combat will begin to feel better for everybody as a whole. I am starting to hate the power sword more and more, and I'm finding my love with the chainsword to be there when I'm playing tactical. And to be fair, the tactical class is proving to be my favorite class within the game. As much as I love playing Bulwark, I am loving that tactical. There's that dodge parry followed up by an execution right there. In the end, melee combat is easy to understand and it's easy to get the grips on when you take the time to realize that melee combat should be taken slowly, and you shouldn't really be waylaying and meleeing in with free baller swings of your sword, and try to focus on the enemies that are attacking you and get those parries or those blocks in for free kills, and then wait for the main enemies, those big heavy hitters, the warriors, the gunners, the lictors, the raveners, all to make their parry strikes, and then learn their non-perfect parryable parries in as well. Learn those timings when they go to swing. When they start swinging, start your parry. All in all, I will say, taking the time to learn the game and start building up your specific weapon style. I'm a fan of fencing and balance. Block definitely hits hard, but you're not getting those parries in. I think the game is worth giving a second shot if you are a Darktide fan, and taking the time to realize that the game is meant to be a lot slower. All this to say that I am starting to like Space Marine 2, but it feels foolishly like one of those games where they tell you after 100 hours the game gets good, and no game should ever take 100 hours to get good. I think that's a shit mentality to have, and I think it's a foolish mentality to have going into any video game as a whole. If your game's not good from the get-go, or your game's gameplay doesn't hold up all the way through, I definitely think it lacks. Which has me wanting to try and redo Angel of Death mode on campaign now that I've learned a lot more about the combat system and the way that the game flows combat-wise, and see how difficult Angel of Death is really solo. If I take all this new knowledge, this new information into consideration and go into it again. We'll have to see, maybe one day. I would encourage you, if you own Space Marine 2, you're too deep into it and you can't make a return, go ahead, give it a try. Start taking the game a little bit slower and not trying to just melee, waylay, third-person action, murder fest spree your way through the hordes, and really focus down on getting the melee done right and really focusing on your melee combat beat. There is a rhythm to the game, and once you learn that rhythm, once you learn the enemy's rhythms, combat becomes a lot smoother, it becomes a lot better, and it becomes a lot more engaging. Otherwise, you could just do the tactical melta meta and trivialize every single point of this game with a melta rifle. I don't know if that weapon's going to get a nerf or is going to stay as strong as it is. We'll see where it is in the meantime. Other than that, lads, thank you so much. Have a good day. Shout out to the patrons. Thank you for supporting on Patreon. There's a link down in the description below if you want to support there. You can also support by heading into becoming a channel member, or tickle the algorithm, make it giggle, make it smile, and put your thoughts down in the comments below. Keep them civil. I don't want to hear any stupidity. Just keep your comments civil. There's no need for any like uptightness. All right. Take care of yourselves, lads. See ya.